Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble. Acta non verba is the motto of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I had appointments to Naval Academy and Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. And Merchant Marine Academy's motto was acta non verba. In other words, don't listen to what a person says. Watch what they do. Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learn from you. So congratulations.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrive Time, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. So I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrive Time it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrive Time Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
Welcome back to the Mel K Show. We are here to empower you, to empower yourselves, to live your best life now. No matter what is going on around you, you still have control over your life. And Clay Clark is back with us today to talk a little bit about what you can and should be doing to grow your business, to figure out your path, and what the future may hold for you if you take control. Thank you for joining me, Clay Clark.
Hey, thank you for joining me, allowing me to join your audience, and for joining me in this quest to help everybody watching today's show to get unstuck financially. Right. I know what it's like to grow up without money. I know what it's like to be unable to participate in a thriving economy. And my desire is to help everybody to become successful. And Mel, I appreciate you allowing me to share this quest, this gospel of wealth with your great audience.
Great. Well, I'm very excited because I know so many people. I mean, you can just go to your website to see all the people you've helped, but you've helped a lot of people, including myself. And you know what? Sometimes there's just a need for mentorship. There's a need for focus plans to be organized and all of that. So where are you taking us today in this installment of Take Control of Your Life and Your Money?
Well, this conversation is today is based upon a client that I was working with over the weekend on Friday. And this wonderful client I work with happens to be in the accounting space. So I'm going to share with you a case study that is not this client, but the client I was talking to this weekend. I was thinking to myself, Wow. More entrepreneurs than I could possibly think of are dealing with the same situation. So this is the case study, and then we'll get into kind of the client that inspired me to put together today's show. Here we go.
Okay, great.
This is a client of mine, Paul Hood, and this is the house that he built.
That's quite a house.
Look at that house. Look at this house. Okay. And again, someone says, what is this? This is a client's house. Look at this, folks. This is not a resort hotel. This is a client's house. Look at this guy's house. Paul Hood. Paul Hood.
I have been a CPA for 33 years.
And what kind of growth have you and your great team had here over the past, let's say, 5-6 years?
For the last 5, when I met you 5 years ago, we were doing 3 million. This year we'll do 24 million.
Wow.
It's immeasurable, Clay. You know, earlier I had mentioned we brought in like 400 new clients organically in 3 months, 2.5 months. All of them were what's called inbound leads, meaning they reached out to me. They weren't referred to me by another client.
Okay, so what I want to talk about on today's show is this thing called FOCUS, which stands for Focus on Core Tasks Until Success. So I'm on the phone with an accountant client who I work with, they'll remain unnamed. And so I'm on the phone with this accountant, and they're going, Clay, I have a client of mine that is, again, this client that I work with is an accountant, so they have many other clients. And the client of mine was telling me their frustration is they have a client that they work with who has a PSO bill, or it's a public service company. It's a utility bill, and they keep paying it month after month after month after month. And they keep hopping on the phone with their client and saying, Mr. Client, well, you got to stop paying for this utility bill. Now, let me continue the story. This is a restaurant that has a location that's not open anymore, but yet they're still paying for the utilities in a building that they're no longer at. And my accountant is telling me it's so frustrating because I work with so many great clients, he was saying, and these clients, they have these recurring bills. And I was thinking, you know what? I have run into this story multiple times, and I'm going to do a show about it. So it's how do you get unstuck? It's focus on core tasks until success. So I told my accounting client, I said, listen, give me the phone number of their utility company, and I will cancel that utility bill today. And they're like, you want to cancel the utility bill for a restaurant that you don't even work with? I'm like, hell yeah. I'm so tired of hearing you talk about it. And so what I'm saying, if you're watching today's show, there's a certain level of intensity that's required. So Mel, literally right before hopping on this show, I'm on the phone with a utility company representing a client that's not even my client. And I'm just going, look, I don't know the words that I need to say to you, but we need to stop paying this bill. And there's a certain amount of intensity needed to become successful. And I call it focus. Focus on core tasks until success. So one, Mel, you know this, when you're going to the mall, and not that you go to the mall, but if you're going to the mall or you're going to New York, if you walk up with a certain speed, people get out of your way.
Yes.
They just do. In New York, if you walk with a certain speed because you know where you're going, people get out of your way.
Right.
But if you're walking with the anthem of doop-a-doop-a-doop, kind of that Seinfeld theme, doop-a-doop-a-doop, and you go at a certain speed, people cut you off. But you've got to have a focus on where you're going. You have to find the line. What is the shortest distance between those 2 points? And I was telling this accountant client of mine, I said, listen, you have to somehow get your clients to get pissed off about their utility bills, about their bills that are coming in for their random retail products they don't sell. You as the accountant have to create that level of intensity. And so, Mel, I want to switch to your career for just a second. You have great guests on your show. You have great guests on your show. How often, though, do you have to miss a lock and really move your schedule around and focus with intensity to book a great guest? I mean, how often do you have to rearrange things, maybe follow up with somebody 4 times, 6 times? How often do you have to put white hot intensity when it comes to the process of booking your guests on your great show?
Well, for me, a lot of my guests are reoccurring guests, so not that hard. But in the beginning, I make lists and I reach out, and usually I'm pretty successful at getting people on. But once in a while,
in the beginning, Mel, how intense did you have to get in the beginning?
It's always been for us pretty focused because I have a very specific, area that I focus on. So for me, it was finding the best people out there to talk about geopolitics, and then creating a rapport with them, and then bringing them on. But it requires a little bit of proving myself to be a worthy voice to share their stories with. And that's really, at that point,
I think a big part of it was we had a number of different strategic changes over
Yep.
time, and each time required that that intention, right? So I think that's a little bit of when I was hearing you talk about walking
Yeah.
on the arc. It's like you do something with a certain level of intention.
Yes.
That people understand that you mean business. And I understand when you get on the phone and you're wishy-washy and you're unsure, but if
Right.
you know exactly what you want and you make that clear, people kind of get out of the way and they make it happen. So
Well, I'm going to brag on Mel. Mel, I'm going to brag on you for a second. When you got on the stage at the Reawaken America tour, you were there to deliver a message.
yeah.
And this isn't a backhanded compliment, but you weren't there to have a pageant, although you dress sharp. You weren't there to celebrate all things Mel K. You were a woman on a mission to deliver a message, and it was very clear. And so sometimes I wasn't exactly sure what to do with you. Because certain speakers get up on the stage and they're wanting to kind of yuck it up a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. They're wanting to kind of meander a little bit, and they maybe don't have as tight of a message, and they maybe are trying to fit in 1/50th as much content as you. And you are like a laser show. That's why every single time you spoke, you got a standing ovation, because people knew you were working for that thing. And so I'm just saying, if you're watching today's show, this accountant who I just shared with you his success story, his company's called hoodcpas.com. And I will share with you facts that seem unbelievable, but I'm going to give you facts. This guy had been in business for 30 years. You heard him say it. And he was at $3 million a year of revenue. He was stuck at $3 million after 30 years of business. 30 years. I think he said 33 years of business. 33 years of business he'd been stuck. And he had, stuck. We helped him grow 8 times larger in less than 3 years. So in 1/10 of the time, he had 8 times the growth. And I think you might have heard him say that this guy generated 400 inbound leads. So people in a month, he used to get 400 in a year.
Right.
I mean, this is unbelievable. You said, well, Clay, how did he do it? It was all about focus. I want people to know this. Do you know, folks, with working with Paul Hood, he'd wanted to write a book. We helped him write not 1 book, but 2 books within a limited period of time, all while growing the company 8x. How? It's focus. So step number 1, I want everybody out there to get out a sheet of paper and focus. What does that mean? I want you to write down your goals for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship. What? Your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun. Okay. And your focused attention. Let me try again. Faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun, and focused attention. That's 7. Faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun, focused attention. It is so important that you do that, because once you do that, Mel, this morning I was on the phone with somebody, again, a vendor in my life, and they're wanting to talk to me. And it's not that I'm a jerk. It's not that I'm mean. I just had to say, I greatly appreciate you. I actually said these words. I said, you're the best. I greatly appreciate you. However, this call, I have to hop off now, because I have a podcast I have to be on starting in like 45 seconds. And they go, oh, well, let me just tell you one more thing. I said, I love you so much. Got to go. And it's not that I'm mean. It's just I know where I'm going. Another example, someone needs this example. You take the sun's rays and you focus them on a given area, you can start a fire. But if you don't take that magnifying glass and focus, you're not going to make an impact. Another example, this mic is called a unidirectional microphone. With this particular mic, the reason why I have this kind of mic is because I do not operate within a quiet studio. Thus, when people walk around behind me, you are less likely to hear it. However, if I were to get a different kind of microphone with a different pickup pattern, you might hear different ambiance throughout my office. So I'm just telling you, this microphone here is a very effective microphone if you project into it. So if you're watching today's show, I'm asking you, how are you projecting into your goals? What are your goals for your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, your fun? I have so many examples. A young person in my life this weekend, Mel, reaches out to me. This was all top of mind. I was getting ready for the show all weekend. They said, hey, do you want to help change the oil on the jet ski? And I go, no. I never, ever, 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 ever want to change the oil on a jet ski. But you know what I want to do? I want to call a competent person that will do that for me. You know why? Because it's not my highest and best use to help you change the oil on a jet ski. Last week, a very dear friend of mine, true story, reached out to me and said, could you help me move? And I thought to myself, this person doesn't know me very well, but I said to the person with a nice tone, I said, I would be happy to help you move, but I will not be doing that. So if you would like pizza and or movers or someone who will pay the bill to move, I'm down. But for me, actually coming to your house and moving heavy things during the middle of my day, no. And it's because I have focus. Another example, I'm trying to help somebody. My wife and I had been married for about a year, and we built a beautiful, I guess we've been married 2 years, and we built a beautiful house from the ground up. I was 21 years old. We had this beautiful house. And a neighbor came by and said, how come you don't have a weed eater and a mower and that kind of thing? I said, my friend, I shall never have a weed eater and a mower or any tools. You know why? Because I'm going to pay someone to do it for me. And because I was focused on growing my disc jockey entertainment company, because I'm focused on maximizing time with my family. I don't want to be spending my day messing with the oil. Because I am focused on getting ready for Eric Trump to come speak at our September conference with you, Mel, as well as Amanda Grace and so many great speakers. Everything on September 25th and 26th is canceled in my life except for that event with Eric Trump, September 25th and 26th. So step number 1, focus. Gain clarity today on your goals for your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, and your fun. So focus. Now X, so for O, so F-O-C-U-S. So focus. Focus on. On? What do you mean? Yeah. Focus on. Mel, we got to hold the idea on our goals for a sustained amount of time. And that's not normal. Most people say you're type A, you're myopic, you're hyperactive, you're OCD, you're alpha, you're a jerk, you're non-negotiable, you're not flexible, you're not malleable, you're not, I hear all these examples, but I'm telling you, if you come upstairs into my man cave bathroom, you'll know where everything is. You know why? Because the labels are out and everything is organized. And that's because that's how I choose to have my man cave bathroom. And if you go into my elephant in the room haircut stores, every store is perfectly clean all the time. You know why? Because I'm obsessed with making sure that my floors are so clean you could lick the floors if you needed to. I want you to be able to use the flooring in my haircut salons for a table if you needed to. Because when you go into a hair salon, Mel, you're going to decide whether to buy or not buy based upon the sights, the sounds, the smells. And again, I have been focused on the core task of making the best men's grooming haircut experience in Tulsa for 14 consecutive years. That's a daily thing. And Mel, I don't think our culture rewards becoming great at anything. I think most people, the culture might pay you, but the average person doesn't focus on anything. We as a culture, we scroll through Instagram, we watch half of a movie, we move on, we get a book, we might read a couple, a chapter or two of the book, then we move on to a new book. We start Mel, what is it that allowed you to get excited about the idea of acting, producing, and writing, and then stay on it? Like you have a psychological problem to the point that you became successful, well-known, and actually an influencer, a person of regard, a person who's respected in your industry. What allowed you to take that idea and to focus on it for decades?
I think really that I built a very strong foundation of education and learning my craft and never stopped learning and always wanted to work or study with people that were the best that I could find. And it's lifelong learning. And then I think also it's a passion. I mean, it was funny. We had people here this week about a film, and I don't you can talk money, you can talk this or that, but once you start talking film production and hiring people and all that, that's game on for me. I love being on a movie set, but it's really because over 30 years, I learned every aspect of that business, and I know what wasting time looks like. And in the road to success I've taken, I'm not somebody who likes to waste time. So I think it's a mixture between education, life experience, and knowing exactly what needs to be done to make something happen, and what actually is a waste of time that sidetracks a lot of people. One example is this goes back to film school, but a lot of people say they want to write a screenplay or they want to write a play or they want to write a TV pilot or whatever. And then they spend all their time trying to perfect dialogue. It's the last thing you should care about when you're making a project, any kind of project like that, is the dialogue. You can rewrite dialogue for months and you're never going to get anywhere. What you need to do is finish the actual beginning to end, the whole body of the story, the plot, all of that. That's the priority. So I'd always say to people, which I learned in school, my teacher always said, finish it. Get to the end of the story, of the plot, of everything, and then do not go back until you get there. And then once you get there and you have a finished product, then the writing becomes the rewriting. But until you get a finished product, you're just telling everyone you have a script, like 99% of the people out there, that's not finished and will never go anywhere. So to me, it's also about learning how to finish things before you get sidetracked and then end up never finishing it. I'd say probably 80% of people that try to write a screenplay or a play or something never complete it.
And this is something I'm going to share this, piling on with what you're saying, because again, this is so true. What you said is so true. Someone should listen to this podcast twice. I promise you. Someone says, you got to dial it down. You sound like you're pretty fired up. I am fired up because we're talking about your success. Okay. And this is a pass or fail thing. I want you to be successful. So when you look at our event coming up with Eric Trump, coming up with Mel K, yourself, coming up with Julie Green, Dr. Stella, I am going to obsessively talk about this event in the coming months because I have a myopic focus on helping your listeners have massive success. And I don't feel bad about it because I've written down my goals for my faith, my family, my finances, my fitness, my friendship, my fun. I am dialed in. I am on target. I am focused on it. Now, this next thing is this core stuff. Now, back to the movies, which I don't know super well, but I do know music very well. One of my friends is a Grammy award-winning artist. And one of the things he told me years ago is he said, Clay, with songwriting, I said, when you write songs, I said to my friend, I said, you're writing songs for U2. You're writing songs for, now, folks, I know, and we all know what Bono is, but get off that for a second. I know and you know what Beyonce is, and I know and you know what Adele is. We all know, but work with me on this. This guy's a Grammy recording artist, and I'm talking to the guy, and I said, you write songs that are for the biggest performers in the industry. And by the way, I 100% disagree with this guy politically. I said, can I ask you what are the pro tips? I want to know, I want to get inside your mind. I've known this guy since college. He says, well, one is don't bore us, just get to the chorus. I'm going, what? He goes, that's my entire philosophy. Don't bore us, get to the chorus. And I'm going, wow. I said, anything else? He goes, people won't hear it. They're called lyrics. And I'm going, huh? He's like, dude, you'll spend all day with an artist who's worrying about lyrics, but no one ever listens to it. All they care about is the big chorus. That's all they know. And I go, anything else? He goes, don't lose sleep. Just focus on the beat. And I'm going, what? Because he has all these things that like rhyme, but he goes, and I'm in a studio. I'm telling you, he's like, it's really depressing, humbling, encouraging, depressing, whatever it is, eye-opening. He says, I'll talk to someone who claims to love my music. And I'll say, I'm not trying to paint you into a corner. I just want to know, what are the lyrics to my song, the one you like a lot? Can you maybe just write them out or try to sing them to me just so I know? And they never know because nobody knows the lyrics, but people go, I like the beat. And people, they like the chorus. And what am I saying? I'm saying that's a core focus, just like you mentioned with the movies. There's parts of the movie that matters. The dialogue, maybe not so much until you get to a certain point. Right. So the core tasks. So we're going to go back into this accountant case study. I remember meeting with Paul, who was a great client, great to work with before he basically changed the way his ownership of his company went. We worked with him for, I think, 7 years or 8 years. Mm-hmm. But I'll give you a story about a current client. This is Spurl and Associates. This is a current client I work with. He's in Canada. He's an accountant. Current client, he's in Canada. And you say, well, what are the core things this guy needs to work on? Well, that's the big value of having a coach or a mentor is we help you figure out how to say no to distractions and focus on the actions that you need to take. So this guy right here, this is Spurl. I'm telling you the plan to help my man, Josh Spurl. Okay. This guy has to do accounting workshops once a quarter. Why? Because every one of his clients is a little bit afraid of numbers. Right. Almost every human in America and in Canada, turns out, is a little bit afraid of their numbers. So every quarter he has an accounting workshop where there's no time pressure. It's not a 1 hour call. It's a workshop. and he does a workshop. And he's going, Clay, you want me to do one every quarter? I'm going, oh yeah, bro, you got to do it. Second thing, I said, Josh, you need to wow your customers and get video testimonials from every single customer. And he's going, what else? I go, well, I mean, that's a big thing. Yeah, it's big. We went over two things that don't seem like they're a lot of things. There's not a lot of things, but the things they are require a lot of focus. So we pull up his accountant here. Let's see if he's doing a good job. Let's check out his homework here. This is Sproul and Associates. He's a CPA. Look at this. Okay, here's his videos. Let's click on his videos. Let's see his videos. And they're accounting videos, by the way. These are probably the most uncensored videos in the world, folks. This is, if you want to get uncensored, do accounting videos. But, there he is. I mean, he's putting out videos. He's got testimonials with clients, and he's doing it.
Huh?
Yeah, nice.
And by the way, if you only talk about accounting, you won't get censored. If you talk about anything that has any kind of geopolitical take to it, good luck to you.
Right.
But I'm just telling you, this guy, every week he says, what do I need to do? I said, what you need to do, Mr. Client, is I need you to, every single client you work with, I need you and you need you to have a quarterly workshop for your clients, and you want to gather video reviews from all of your clients. He says, what else? I said, okay. There's only 5 things, by the way. So thing number 3, what I want you to do is every single day, gather objective Google reviews from your clients. He goes, okay. What else? There's only 5 things. 4, I need you to write a blog about accounting. He's like, every day? Well, just on the days you don't hate yourself, because this will make you rank in the search results. All right. And then 5, you want to have a daily huddle where you verify that your team is calling, texting, and emailing every lead until they close. And this is and so once he got in his mind, okay, here are the top 5 things. I got to do it on repeat. Here we go. Top 5 things. It's like a basketball player. There's a layup, there's a free throw, there's a 3-pointer. There's like a handful of ways to score, but you just got to master some basic moves. So we talk about focus. Focus, okay. Define your goals for your faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun. Be on target, okay. Okay. Core tasks. Mel, I bet you there's not a week that goes by that somebody doesn't pitch you and Rob with something. I mean, there's probably not a day that goes by during certain times of your life, especially when you do speaking. When you go out and speak, so many organizations reach out to you and ask you to come speak. I know it's the same for me, probably to you to a larger extent. But every time I speak somewhere, there's probably 50 wonderful people with 50 great ideas. And if I don't say no to the non-needle movers, I end up being busy with busy work that doesn't get me closer to my goals.
Right.
I mean, can you talk about that? Just knowing your core tasks, how important that is?
Yeah, I mean, for me, now that I do also a morning daily show, I am up at 6 o'clock, but that starts the night before at 8 o'clock, because I go at the end of the day, I go through everything and I try to figure out what mattered, what didn't matter, what I want to focus on. I get up at 6, I start setting up, and that for me is now a set thing that I go through and I compare notes, and then I look at all the sources I like. And then I do my show. But then after that, I usually do 1 or 2 interviews a day after that. So, then I'm prepped for that. But a lot of my preparation happens the night before. Yep. I don't waste a lot of time at all. And kind of my life is built around that schedule. So I'm just very stickler about how much work I put into the back end of creating my show.
For anybody out there watching today's show, I hope you're taking notes on this, folks, because these are life-changing moves. They're absolutely going to add massive amounts of productivity. You hear Mel, she organizes her day every night. The night before, she organizes her day. I like to do this. I'm not saying you should do this. I set my alarm for 3. I'm not saying you should do that, folks. I'm just telling you, for me, so like last night, my wife, she had her aunt come by, who's a great lady, and we're super happy to accommodate her. We're excited she's here, all that. I can't, with 5 kids in my world, and maybe I should do it differently, but this is how I do it. I just cannot think critically when I'm around all the different emotions, all the different people, right, the entertainment, the stuff that's happening. So my quiet time, my organizational time, my focus time is at 3 a.m. because in my life, I find that 0% of the American population interrupts me at 3 a.m. Right. So that's why I do that. But if you're watching today's show, maybe you have a schedule more similar to Mel, and the night before is what you do. But we all have to have a time to organize our day. Let's repeat these moves. F, you want to define your goals for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun. O, you got to be on target. You don't live long enough to be off target. If you spend a year of your life life going the wrong direction, it might take you 2 more years to course correct. You got to be on target. Core tasks. You have to know what you're doing. One of my mentors back in the day, Carlton Pearson, he told me, he said, Clay, do you know where confidence comes from? I said, I don't, sir. And I was probably 25 and he was 45 and he was the largest, most successful evangelist in America. And he said, do you know where confidence comes from? I said, Bishop Carlton, I don't know, sir. Tell me. He says, it's where you confide in yourself that during this instance, you're doing what God wants you to do right now. And I'm going, come again? He goes, Clay, when I get up there to share the gospel, I have confided in myself that during this instance, I am doing exactly what God wants me to do. He says, all fear of embarrassment, all pride, all any of that emotional stuff, it's all gone when you have confidence. And how do you have confidence? You have to every single day write down your goals for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun. Oh, be on target. C, know your core tasks. This is where it gets less fun for people. Until we're spelling out focus. Until, what does that mean? Until you got to follow up sometimes like 10 times about the same thing. Back to my accountant client. I'm talking to my accountant client on Friday. He's telling me, the biggest thing that's tough for me as an accountant is I can tell my clients, my restaurants, he primarily works with restaurants and retail stores. And he's like, I can help them analyze their numbers, but they're going to have to get on the phone with their vendors and suppliers and cut those expenses. And he's like, I can't do that. And it's tedious and people miss each other, boats passing in the night, that kind of thing. And he's like, it just, I don't know what it is. It's a friction. People are afraid of it. People are afraid of the friction. People are afraid of the awkward conversation. I'm going, okay, I got it. And what I'm telling you, if you're watching today's show, is you're going to have to focus until success. So just moments earlier today, we're mowing our property, getting all ready for this upcoming conference. We're getting the property all updated and manicured and cleaned up. And we've got some weeds. No, you can't have weeds at the entrance of the building. And so we've put concrete between the rocks and the sidewalk so that the weeds cannot grow. And somebody says to me, do you really have to put concrete there? I go, yeah, because the weeds keep growing and it has to stop. We're in the process of cleaning up the pond. Someone says to me, do you really have to dragnet the pond of roughage and clean it up before the conference? Does that really matter? I'm going, oh, yeah. Someone says, Clay, are you really? My employees are asking me, they're going, do you really have to mic check the microphones 10 times? I go, yes, because it really has to be perfect. And I'm just telling you, I'm going to focus. I'm going to follow up until success. And there's somebody out there, Mel, they've applied to be an actor for one movie. They've tried out for one movie. They've tried out for one part. They've applied for one job. They've tried to interview one guest. They've tried to do one, and they got one rejection. And now they quit. What do you say to somebody out there, Mel, who is just starting out, or maybe they're developing in their career and they got a little rejection and they've kind of pulled back? They've got a little bit of pushback and they recoiled. What do you say to somebody out there that needs a little bit of mentorship right now?
Well, for me, it's always been fake it till you make it mentality of that. It's never really rejection. It's just another chance. But I'm somebody who has at least gotten rejected 1,000 times in a 30-year career. So I'm very used to that. But I do know that you have to, every opportunity should be a win that you connect with somebody, whether you get what you wanted out of it or not. I have a mentor that always was like, you have to celebrate the wins. Even if you don't book the job, you showed up, you looked good, you sounded good, you nailed it, you felt good about it. That's the work. So, any work that you put in is what you should be proud of. The outcome isn't up to you. I mean, it's kind of like the serenity prayer, know what you can control. You can't control what somebody else is going to do, but you can control how well you execute what you do. So I think that it's always an idea of every call, every opportunity, every audition, every meeting, every pitch is always about how you did. And every time that you do something like that, whether it's a call like you're talking about, or it's, pitching a new product or project or whatever, it really you should be judging yourself on how much and how often you stand up and try again and perfect it. I think it's an opportunity like that. So for me, I've been getting rejected since I was started auditioning for Broadway and stuff, 14 years old. So I'm very adept at getting rejected, but I changed my whole thinking, maybe 15 years ago, to getting the meeting or having somebody answer the phone or, getting to the next level of pitching something is a win. Every time that you're fighting for yourself and you're showing up for yourself and you complete that, regardless of the outcome, you won. That's how I think about it.
The obstacle is the way, folks. The obstacle is the way. Again, final pro tip. I'm trying to help everybody out there get unstuck. Focus on core tasks until success. So you never lose unless you quit.
Right.
So if you're somebody out there and you've had a tryout, it didn't go well, you auditioned, it didn't go well, you talked to a lead, it didn't close, you don't
try
ever
a podcast
lose.
and
Try a pod.
right away, because you're somebody who's always said to people, don't look at the numbers for the first 3 months. Just keep
right.
consistent. Yeah.
And I'll say this is so big. I want to show this to everybody out there watching. So we go to rumble.com real quick here. And, you look at like shows that I have. So let's just look at my shows and we'll judge me and say, oh, you could do it better. I do shows. What I do, my rhythm is I'm just going to put them out.
Right.
And so we just announced Eric Trump is joining us for this upcoming event, and maybe that's exciting for some people, maybe it's not. So there's 1,300 people that have seen it allegedly. Dr. Stella and I did an interview yesterday. Allegedly, maybe 4,000 people have seen it. I did this interview celebrating the success of my client. Maybe 3,400 people saw it. I don't know, and I put them out. Of all the things I'm most proud of, it's probably this one here. It's a song I wrote, but maybe that doesn't get a lot of views, but I don't attach my level of success or lack thereof based upon the views. This one here, Catherine Austin Fitz did a phenomenal interview, and I think everybody should watch it. It's a 2.5 hour long interview. So what I did with this one is I cut this long form interview into some short parts, and then I put a link so people can go watch the full length interview that she did,
right.
Because I think everybody should watch it. And so I'm constantly putting out content, but whether I get a win or not, it doesn't, in terms of a validation or a view
right.
or a share, it doesn't stop me from putting forth the action.
Yeah.
But what happens is over time, when you go to thrivetimeshow.com, and strictly speaking, as relates to the podcast space, when you look at some of our featured guests and you say, Clay, throughout your career, you've ended up having the head of the Harvard Business School on your show. You've had Robert Kiyosaki. You've had David Robinson. You've had Eric Trump. And you kind of look at the clients, the people I've interviewed over the years or the clients I've worked with. If you look at the 20-year history, it's a pretty big list of great big-time people. But the amount of rejections that goes into that is truly next level. And so I encourage everybody out there today, if you're saying you want to know the practical and tactical step by step steps that you need to take to build a successful company, what I want you to do is I want you to go to thrivetimeshow.com, thrivetimeshow.com. When you go there, even in the photo in the background, there's a learning opportunity. This guy here, he's kind of hidden. This is Charles Kolaw. There he is. Charles, the fitness guy,
yeah.
He wanted to work with me years ago, and I couldn't work with him because I was working with his direct competitor. And I don't work with two competitors. So he reached out to me multiple times, and I was able to work with him, and he's still a great client of mine. Josh Spurl, there's the accountant from Canada. Folks, this guy, I've worked with him for years and years and years. He's one of the most successful accountants in Canada, but it took a long time to get him here. This is Robert Kiyosaki. I asked Robert Kiyosaki to speak and to be on my shows for years, and I always got some form of rejection, and we finally got that done after 20 years. Eric Trump is speaking at our upcoming workshop, and it took a lot of effort to reach Eric to get into his world. So for anybody out there, if you want to learn what you need to do to grow, to start and grow a super successful company, what I want you to do, I got 3 calls to action for you. 1, go to thrivetimeshow.com. You can go to thrivetimeshow.com, learn more about the September 25th and 26th event. That's thrivetimeshow.com. 2nd, go ahead and request tickets right now. I'll put my phone number at the top right of the website. That's 918-851-0102, 918-851-0102. Use promo code MELK. Just tell the team when they call you that you heard about what we're doing through Mel K, because Mel K, by saying that, you're able to get a discount and a chance to win a backstage pass ticket. And then finally, click on testimonials. I find this to be the most encouraging button, perhaps in the history of entrepreneurship. These are all people, real people that have real companies that were really stuck, and now they are thriving. Some of these people look familiar, some of them don't, but they're all having massive success. And I encourage everybody out there, take the first step, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Get in the action, take that first step. Mel, there's somebody out there watching today's show, and I want to get your thoughts on this, that they're hesitant to taking the first step. Everybody out there, I encourage them to take action, to get in the game, to get moving. What do you say to somebody, Mel, who's, reluctant to go into a workshop or, requesting tickets, or what do you say?
I get it. I mean, I get it. I used to be like that myself, but I do know that there is a sense of fear, I think, involved in the idea of putting yourself out there. But I will say that your environment that you created, first of all, Rob and I had our meeting with Clay because after doing multiple shows with him, I realized that I need his help as much as anyone else. So I'm very excited to be working with Clay going forward because I have a lot of things I need to fix. It's been a bumpy road. I jumped into this podcast space kind of, they shut down the world and I didn't know what to do with myself. But I do have to say that you really have to give yourself the permission and not wait for permission to come from the outside. You said earlier, and my mentor always says, dreams don't have expiration dates, and it's never too late to make your passion a mission and an experience, and to use your drive to do something that you always wanted to do and didn't give yourself permission. I think a lot of it has to do with giving yourself permission. The other thing is being around other people that are motivated, that are excited, that are looking for answers is really, really important. I think that there's been a lot of push to put us into having normalize the idea of Zoom meetings and of watching YouTube to learn and online school. There's a whole different thing to going to a room full of people like at Clay's that I'll be there in September and having all these entrepreneurs and all these people looking to grow. There's a real sense of fellowship and community that comes with putting yourself out there. And most of all, I think that every time that you show up for yourself at anything that can enhance your life, you are building upon that momentum that will lead you to your success. So for me, all of that is based on fear of not succeeding, fear of not being good enough, fear of failing, and all of that fear after you actually force yourself to jump in and commit. Not only goes away, but it empowers you to go forward. So I am somebody that whether I want to go or not, I go anyway. And I think it's really important for people to think that way, because I'm telling you, I've never shown up at anything like Clay's conferences or other things that I have done that have inspired me and ever left regretting it. I always look at it next time and think, God, I wish I did that earlier. And I want my audience to know that that is the experience that can change your life. It's multiple levels of momentum and inspiration at one time.
Mel, I really appreciate you for allowing me to hop on this show and share with your audience practical, tactical, actionable moves, because whether you're trying to save America or grow a podcast or grow a dental practice or sell more bread at your bakery, you've got to have focus. And I encourage everybody to focus on your core tasks until success. Mel, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Clay. And I want to mention one more thing about Clay and his coaching and everything. What is great is an objective opinion that isn't there to one way or another be personal or be your friend or anything. It's really helped me a lot. And I would definitely encourage anyone to get a consultation. It's free from Clay and he can go through things really quick, but I'm saying this from myself, just having done it yesterday. I got off with Clay and Rob looked at me and he said, I feel big weight lifted off my back, because also doing it alone and feeling that burden of doing it alone is really a lot more stress than you need. So I highly recommend signing up on Thrive Time for a consultation, 13-point consultation. It really helped me and Rob, and we are super excited to start working with Clay. So thank you so much, Clay, for all you do for us and all the inspiration. And everyone out there, we will be in September at Clay's conference talking about multiple things, and I hope you will join us there. It's in Tulsa. It's tons of fun. You'll meet great people. A lot of our best friends will be there. So Clay, We will see you in person then, and we will see you next week on the show. I appreciate
No, I
your
forgot
time.
to mention this because I'm a horrible guest. I forgot to mention this. People always ask me, the tickets are $250 for the conference or whatever price you want to pay, and consulting is $1,700. Or we have scholarships available. We do discounts to help people in need. So bottom line, if you want to go, $250 or whatever price you can afford. The coaching, it's $1,700. It's month to month or whatever price you can. We have scholarships available.
Well, you have to say, when you say it's $1,700, you have to say you're going to build a website, you're going to drive the traffic, you're going to do the SEO, you're going to do the creative. I mean, it's the biggest bargain out there. No, I'm not joking. It's the biggest bargain in the entire world for an entrepreneurial minded person out there that wants to take their business to the next level. This is I paid 10 times that for the same stuff Clay is doing. So I do want to mention that, as much as you're very hard on yourself, but honestly, it is the biggest, best bargain, especially if you have a website based business. It is a total game changer. And also all the money and stuff that you hate, Clay just breaks it down. It's no longer scary. So I highly recommend. And thank you, Clay, again.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
But I recognized at the age of 15, I'm going, you know what? I am not going to live that way. And so I started a company out of my parents' basement called djconnection.com. And I decided I am going to have success. And so I reached out to millionaires and people that I kind of knew through church and friendships and parents of my friends. And I said, what book would you recommend that I read? I'm a 15-year-old asking this question. True story. And I kept being told, you got to read.
Hello, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Radio Show. It's an exciting time. Also, I think a treacherous time, a spooky time also. But it's always, danger is a good time. Today, my guest is Clay Clark, and I went out with Tom Wheelwright to visit Clay with Eric Trump also. And the reason I want to talk to Clay this morning is a very important subject called study. And the reason I say that is things are changing so fast, and many people are completely missing the show. Things are changing at rapid speed. Technology is changing. And so I went to Tulsa, again, with Tom Wheelwright and Eric Trump. And the thing I was so impressed about Clay is this word called study. I don't know, you guys must be in your water or something, Clay, but boy, I was so impressed how big you guys are. But what really impressed me was you have this huge congregation. They're all about guys your age. They're on fire. And you start your classes at 5 a.m. Now, let me talk to you about study here. We show our books here. Now, this is how I study. This is The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's on the Fed. And Clay's doing the same thing. We study. So I go out to Clay's place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's built this huge compound out there. And you guys start at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not by Zoom. They drive there. They show up 5 o'clock, bright-haired, bushy-tailed and all this. And they're on fire. Your group is on fire. So that's what was on Clay, this technology you tell your group. I was so impressed. Because, like I said, studies became a bad word. I got into fights in my own company because our staff didn't want to study anymore. And I don't know how they cannot do that. So, Clay, anyway, welcome to the Rich Dad Radio Show. That's what I want to talk to you about. is how do you do it? 5 o'clock in the morning, you have hundreds of people showing up in your huge auditorium on your property to study. Anyway, welcome to the show, Clay. And what turns you on so much? That's what I want to know. Give us a little about your background.
My name is Karime Schofield, and the name of our company is Whistle While You Clean.
I am Sophia Schofield.
We live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we service the tri-state, so Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana.
We were getting a phone call, and we were like, why is someone calling our business line? That's unusual, and we picked it up, and it was a lead.
I mean, it's been incredible, Clay. We've gone from 0 to like 100% growth. Like we're like a full functioning company. It's great. Like we're blown away at how well we're doing. So working with you guys have really taught us a lot about generating leads and pursuing our Dream 100. So we have a list of customers that we want to market to. And so we've been making phone calls, we've been showing up in person. We're trying to get near the businesses that they would visit if they were visiting like a hair salon or something. And then we start calling them and we just start pursuing them. And then the other thing that we do is when we do cleans, we take a lot of video testimonials and we post those to our website so other customers can see. And then we also upload a lot of images of the things that we do. And so we're also asking our clients for Google reviews after we've cleaned their houses. And so it's this constant like cycle of doing those things over and over and over again. I would say if you're on the fence, go to one of Clay's conferences. They are hilarious. They're fun. They're educational. They're so good that even my teenagers like them. And I would say don't let fear hold you back. If you want to start a business, do the obvious thing and hire someone who knows how to run businesses. If I wanted to get in shape, I'd hire a gym person, a personal trainer. This is like the personal training for business. It has been absolutely amazing. I mean, our coach is encouraging. When he first met with us, he said, do we want him to be like a drill sergeant with us? What level of intensity do we want him to give us? And I will say he is incredibly encouraging all the time. And he just hits the same mark with us every single time. It's very repetitive. But I think we both really learn a lot every time we sit down and have a conversation with him over the phone. He keeps pushing us to go further, and he can recognize when we're afraid to do something and he'll give us a little bit of grace, but that next week he's drilling us again, like pushing us to go harder. Our no-brainer offer is we are offering your first clean for $1. And that sounds absolutely insane. It even sounded insane when I was talking over it with our business coach. And I will tell you that has generated some of our hugest clients. I mean, that has been like a game changer because it opened up the door to more clients, more recommendations, more leads. And we were surprised how far that dollar clean got us.
How important has it been for you to work out that scripting, even though you offer $1 for the first clean? How important has it been for you to nail that down?
It's been really important because it kind of it hones in so that you're not just all over the place when you're trying to explain what it is that you do. And a lot of times it's like you're a good person offering a good product and you have integrity and you want to communicate that. But when you go to communicate without a script or without practice, it's just like a mess coming out of your mouth, as opposed to having this, honed in practice where you know what you're going to say, you know how you're going to say it, and you can almost expect better results when you do it that way.
Had you ever been an entrepreneur before starting this particular business?
No, never.
Did you ever think about wanting to own your own business someday? Or what was the first time you thought, maybe I would like to open my own business?
Absolutely. I've probably been dreaming about it for about 10 years.
Okay. And let me go to your daughter here. Had you ever thought about wanting to team up and open your own business? Or was that something that you were maybe excited about or not so much?
Well, for me, my parents would always listen to your podcast and business podcast. And as I started listening to them, I started realizing that I wanted to own a business.
It's www.whistlewhileyouclean.com. Honestly, the hardest thing was getting over the fear. It was the fear of the unknown. There was like a cloud of doubt that, you can't do this, you're gonna fail. There was a few sleepless nights there when we did pull the trigger and join your team and start the coaching process. Even my husband put a little bit of pressure on me from time to time because it was just absolutely scary to take that jump and actually start a business.